One of the things that makes President Trump so unique is the way he interacts with the media. He doesn't give many traditional press conferences. You know, he mostly just shouts at reporters in front of a helicopter or takes a few questions when he's with a foreign leader, or his favorites, just shares policy ideas at the drive-thru. He's like, let me get a burger, no lettuce, no pickles, and no deal with Iran. It's like, okay, sir, do you want fries with that? The Iran deal? No, sir, the burger. Okay, because if the Iran deal comes with fries, I would be open to negotiating. But what's also interesting about Donald Trump is sometimes he'll switch things up and he'll give one reporter total access to him for an entire day. And the latest example was with ABC's George Stephanopoulos. And one thing we learned from this interview was that Trump may not like intelligence briefings or cabinet meetings or reading in general, but he loves giving tours.
The Oval Office is such a special place.
Show us around. Famous desk.
So that's a very famous desk. That's the Resolute desk. You have your choice of 7 desks. They have 7 desks. They give you pictures of desks. They give you pictures of carpet. This is the Ronald Reagan carpet. They give you pictures of the drapes. You see the drapes? They say, I think we have 12 sets of drapes we can use. Here's your new Air Force One. It's going to look incredible. It's going to look sleeker.
What's the biggest personal touch you've put on the office?
Well, I put a lot of them. The flags. You didn't have flags to any great degree.
It's like the weirdest episode of MTV Cribs. Yeah, you know, this is my flags. Yeah, this is my desk. That is a lot of flags, though, right? And it seems innocent, but when you think about what Trump does to flags in public, I don't even want to imagine what he does when they're alone. Yeah, those flags were probably like, Stephanopoulos, take us with you. Please, Stephanopoulos, please. Trump spent so much time showing George Stephanopoulos around, you'd think that he was looking to sublet the Oval Office. But since he had a member of the fake news media there, he also used the opportunity to hit back at them and their phony reporting.
I watched your show this morning. I watched Good Morning America, and they had something about the polling, and it's really suppression polling, it's fake polling, but in that case it was just made-up polling. And I had the same thing made up. I mean, they give you phony numbers. They give you numbers. They said that they have access to numbers, which I don't believe they have access to. Trump
Basically treats polls the way some people treat their bathroom scales. You know? Yeah, when you're happy with the number, you're like, yeah, this is science. I mean, that's what I weigh. I mean, this technology. But if the number is not what you want it to be, you're like, this shit is going back to Bed Bath & Beyond. That's not right. That's not right. Is this pounds or kilograms? Unfortunately for Trump, though, there's one poll that he couldn't blame the media for because it was done by his own campaign.
The Trump campaign's internal polling shows the president trailing former Vice President Joe Biden in critical battleground states, 39 to 55% in Pennsylvania, 41 to 51 in Wisconsin, and by 7 points in Florida.
CBS News has learned the Trump campaign fired several pollsters after those internal polling numbers were leaked.
Oh, man. So Trump learns that he's behind in the polls, and he responds by firing his pollsters, which makes sense to me. It's like how I used to have Ebola, but then I fired my doctor, so I don't have Ebola anymore. Yeah, I'm just a regular guy who pees out of his butt. But my favorite moment from this interview, was when Trump talked about releasing his tax returns. Not because I think he'll actually release them at this point. It's more likely that he'll release an album of duets with Hillary Clinton. No. What made this thing interesting was that while Trump was talking, someone in the background coughed, and just watch what happens after that.
They're after my financial statement, the Senate. They'd like to get my financial statement. At some point, I hope they get it.
You're going to turn it over?
No, at some point, I might. But at some point, I hope they get it, because it's a fantastic financial statement. It's a fantastic financial statement. And let's do that over. He's coughing in the middle of my answer.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like that, you know?
When you're chief of staff.
If you're going to cough, please leave the room.
Get a shot of, and I'll come over here.
You just can't.
Just to change the shot.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Trump.
Okay, do you want to do that a little differently then?
Yeah, we just changed the angle.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
So at some point, I look forward to, frankly, I'd like to have people see my financial statement because it's phenomenal.
Yo, are you serious? It's like a real-life episode of The Office. He's looking at the camera's going off. I half expected Dwight to pop up on screen and just shake his head. But you have to give it to Trump. He might not be a good president, but he is a fantastic television professional. He knows his angles. He's giving them different line readings. He's changing it up. They're coming for my precious tax returns. And wait, who's coughing? All right, let me take that again. They're coming for my precious tax returns. All right, that was the one. That was the one. And by the way, I don't think it was a coincidence that his chief of staff just happened to cough right when Trump was talking about releasing his tax returns. Yeah, that didn't sound like a real cough. It sounded more like a shut the f*** up about your taxes. That's what that was. So, that was Trump's one-on-one with ABC. And really, this makes it clear why he doesn't do interviews very often. Because in one interview, he contradicted himself on the polls, he flipped out at his coughing staff, and worst of all, he somehow managed to look shorter than George Stephanopoulos. So I think it's safe to say tomorrow's interview will be back at the drive-thru.